It was supposed to be a tranquil evening, a modest family dinner with only a few of us gathered. My parents, her mother, my younger sister, and the woman I once believed would be my lifelong companion were present. The table sparkled with polished cutlery, a roast softly steaming at its center, and candles casting a fragile light, striving to create a sense of warmth. I handed my father a drink, attempting to ease the sharp pang tightening in my chest. Then she walked in, her arm linked with his. He was tall, radiating an arrogant confidence, noticeably younger than me. The sort of man whose self-assurance shone like an ostentatious brand name accessory, impossible to ignore. Without hesitation, he strolled in as if the room belonged to him. "Evening, everyone," he said with a smug grin, settling next to her with the familiarity of someone who had done so countless times. My mother's wine glass paused midair. My father cast me a confused glance. Her mother offered a polite nod, likely assuming he was just a colleague or acquaintance. That's when my wife stood, her voice slicing through the conversation. "I have an announcement," she proclaimed, loud enough to silence the room. "This is Jason. He's moving in with us." A heavy silence descended like a crashing wave. Jason gave a theatrical wave, as if he were a trophy on display. Then she smirked, a cruel, cutting smile that burned into my memory. I looked around. My sister's mouth hung open, my father's expression turned to stone, but I simply smiled. Unlike them, I wasn't shocked. For weeks, I'd been collecting evidence. Unfamiliar charges on our credit card, a new fragrance she never wore at home, sudden work crises that always occurred on weekends, and a hotel key card I discovered beneath the passenger seat. Then there were the photos, the messages, and a voicemail where she whispered his name. I hadn't confronted her. I waited, because tonight wasn't about her infidelity, it was about my reckoning. This dinner was just the prelude. Jason reclined in his chair, soaking up the tension like it was applause. My wife clung to his arm, beaming as if she'd won the lead in a twisted romance. I caught her glancing at me, expecting me to crumble, to yell, to beg. Instead, I stood, glass in hand. "To daring decisions," I said calmly, "and surprise visitors." The room grew rigid, uncertain whether to raise their glasses or retreat. I didn't care. The discomfort was intentional. Sarah let out a forced laugh. Jason, oblivious, lifted his glass. "To that, mate. No hard feelings yet," he said. "Not a bit," I replied, my smile taut enough to sting. He genuinely thought I'd just surrender. I excused myself to the kitchen, and my father followed. "What's happening, son?" he murmured, worry etched in his tone. "I know it all," I told him. "Give me a day. Trust me." He searched my face, then gave a single nod, recognizing the cold determination in my eyes. Back at the table, Jason devoured herb-crusted chicken while Sarah laughed excessively. They had no clue I'd already begun my plan, moves they couldn't imagine. I'd engaged 2 lawyers, transferred $70,000 to a private account, installed hidden cameras, one recording them in my garage, copied the deed to the house I'd purchased before our marriage, and most satisfyingly, insured Jason's prestigious new job, the one Sarah boasted about arranging, was at a firm where I held a discreet board position. He was already standing on a precipice he couldn't see. 2 days later, I found Jason in the kitchen, guzzling the last of my orange juice. "Morning, pal," he said, wiping his mouth. "Borrowed some of your cologne. Big first day." I offered a chilly smile. "Starting today, right? Senior analyst at Madison and Knox." He nodded, unaware. "Sarah's a godsend." That godsend job was a mirage, a meticulously crafted role just for him. By midday, I was in a meeting with Marissa, the real HR director and a trusted friend from university. She handed me a dossier, his social media posts, her texts, and the garage footage. "He's gone by end of day," she promised. "And it'll be public." By 3 p.m., Jason was escorted out with a pitiful box of possessions. By 4 o'clock, his LinkedIn profile screamed, "Open to work." By 5 o'clock, Sarah called, her voice tight with suspicion. "Did you ruin his job?" she demanded. "I thought you said he was superior to me," I replied smoothly. Strange, isn't it? Silence swallowed her response. That evening, she played the devoted wife, preparing my favorite meal. Wearing the scent I once loved, suggesting we talk. I listened, smiled. Let her believe reconciliation was possible. She didn't know the accounts were drained, the credit cards canceled, or that the car she drove was marked for repossession. Every move was precise, not chaotic, a surgical strike. The next weekend, Jason, still jobless but strutting with bravado, hosted a house party to lighten the mood. With Sarah's enthusiastic approval, likely hoping to deepen the wound she thought she'd inflicted. She believed she held the advantage, unaware the foundation beneath her was already collapsing. She never understood the intricacies of a true partnership, even flaunting our private life online. A critical error. I didn't halt their party. I let their laughter echo through the house I owned. Let them drink my wine, mock the life I'd built, and parade as if they'd won. But at sunrise, reality struck. They awoke to boxes stacked outside, an eviction notice tacked to the door, and a document declaring the property no longer theirs. Sarah gasped in disbelief. Jason puffed up, feigning confidence, until my real estate attorney arrived, calmly presenting the facts. Thanks to the strategic separation I'd filed early, the house was solely mine, sold under my name. Sarah had no claim. "This is our home," she whispered, dazed. "No," I said, standing in the doorway. "You were visitors. Now you're not." I handed her a flash drive containing her messages. Audio of Jason bragging about taking someone's wife, security footage, and a detailed list of every fraudulent charge from our joint account. A note attached read, "By the way, this is what both our parents will see at dinner tonight." Her face paled. Jason lunged for the drive, but I stepped aside, letting him stumble. I drove away as the locksmith arrived, right on time. Later, a text from Sarah's sister arrived. "What's going on? She's a mess. Our parents are horrified." I didn't reply. I posted a vague status. Quiet speaks louder than fury. The comments poured in. Sarah's social standing crumbled. Her family couldn't look at her. Jason, once full of swagger, was now a broke wanderer with nowhere to turn. A week passed in peace for me. Turmoil for her. She'd moved back with her parents, who barely acknowledged her. Jason had disappeared after his car was repossessed, and his dubious crypto venture, signed in my name, caught police attention. I wasn't reveling. I was planning, with one final step remaining. On a rainy day, she showed up at my office, unannounced, drenched in ill-fitting second-hand clothes. "Can we talk?" she begged. I stayed silent, letting her speak. "I lost everything. I was stupid, trusted the wrong person. You were my foundation. I know I don't deserve it, but can you help me rebuild?" Her voice broke, tears welling. I kept my tone steady. "You didn't just betray me, you tried to erase me. My home, my money, my peace. Now you want my help." She stared at the floor, hands trembling. "There's a difference between a mistake and malice," I said. "You crossed it. Live with it." I slid an envelope toward her. Her signed waiver of spousal support, a letter to her employer outlining her ethical breaches, and a printout of her social media post mocking loyal husbands as needy fossils. "Want mercy?" I asked. "Sign this. Vanish. Or I can make things harder." She signed, shaking. I escorted her out. That night, alone in my new apartment, I enjoyed a quiet meal I'd prepared, the air warm and serene. I smiled, not at her downfall but at my liberation. 3 months later, my life had changed. New city, new career. I was advising a nonprofit helping survivors of toxic relationships. One morning, sipping coffee on my balcony, an envelope arrived, no sender noted. Her handwriting was unmistakable. It contained a wedding invitation. "Jason and Sarah invite you to celebrate their love and new beginning." I laughed so hard I startled the birds nearby. A note from Sarah was tucked inside. "I know this is strange, but I'm trying to heal. You were a huge part of my life. Maybe we can be friends? Please come." No anger rose in me, just amusement. She hadn't changed. I sent a package back. A copy of the deed to a beach house I'd bought with the proceeds from our old home. A photo of me with my new partner. Kind, reliable, her opposite, and a sticky note. "Thanks for the lesson. I found true peace. Hope you find yours far away." That was the end. No more messages, No calls, just silence. The sweetest vengeance, letting them unravel on their own.